Wholesome facts that will make your day slightly better, part 1. When a human sees a puppy, a chemical called dopamine is released in the brain. Elephants also release dopamine when they see people, meaning that they think we're cute in the same way we think puppies are cute. There's a YouTube channel called Dad, How Do I that teaches young people things that would typically be taught by a father figure. From how to change a tire to how to tie a tie, fans of the channel think it's super helpful. When you're on a walk with your dog and they stop to take a dump, you may notice that your fluffy friend is staring at you as they poop. They do this because they're in a defenseless position and they're trusting you to keep them safe.
What's up, YouTube? Welcome back to the channel. How you guys doing? Hopefully you guys are doing alright. If you guys are brand new to the channel, you guys don't know what we do. We break down scary and creepy videos, man, on the net, on the web. From YouTube videos to TikTok videos, IG reels, Facebooks, man, anything weird, usual, and unexplained you can find right here on this channel. Just want to thank you guys who's been tapping into the channel, subscribing, smashing that like button, man, hitting that post notification. But that's how we grow. That's how we can grow our community. So great, appreciate the support. Let's do what we do best. Seek the truth.
You guys, this is absolutely horrible. Police in Yukon, Oklahoma received a call yesterday at 9:35 in the morning from a 10-year-old little boy claiming that he woke up and found the other 5 people in the home to be deceased. When police arrived, they said it was a total massacre. In a press conference this morning, police announced that 42-year-old Jonathan Candy had gotten into an altercation the night before with his wife, 39-year-old Lindsay Candy, and at that point he got out his firearm and shot her numerous times. He then systematically went through the house and unalived his 3 kids. They're 18-year-old Dylan, 14-year-old Ethan, and 12-year-old Lucas. This is an older photo from 2017, but it's the only one I could find so far. The police said they're unsure why that 4th child was left unharmed. Lindsay and one of the kids was found downstairs, and the other 2 kids were found upstairs, and they said that one of them was in their bed. And they don't know if anybody tried to fight back, but they believe that pretty much as soon as he saw one of them, he just took their life immediately. It was also reported that there was never any kind of history of domestic issues within the home, so nobody really has a clue what made him decide to do that.
He just snapped?
Prayers going up to the family and the friends. I can't even imagine.
Wholesome facts that will make your day slightly better, part 1. When a human sees a puppy, a chemical called dopamine is released in the brain. Elephants also release dopamine when they see people, meaning that they think we're cute in the same way we think puppies are cute. There's a YouTube channel called Dad, How Do I that teaches young people things that would typically be taught by a father figure. From how to change a tire to how to tie a tie, fans of the channel think it's super helpful. When you're on a walk with your dog and they stop to take a dump, you may notice that your fluffy friend is staring at you as they poop. They do this because they're in a defenseless position and they're trusting you to keep them safe. There are more public libraries in the US than McDonald's. After the horrific events of 9/11, a small Kenyan tribe known as the Maasai people gave 14 cows to the US in their support. The man who played Mickey Mouse ended up marrying the woman who played Minnie Mouse, meaning that true love actually exists.
That's true love right there.
These are animals that were scarier than dinosaurs, part 2. The helicoprion was a 20 to 25 foot fish that existed around 270 million years ago. It was discovered when paleontologists started examining a mysterious fossil that contained a row of teeth and swirls. It was given its name after scientists concluded that the fossil came from a shark-like fish, and it was believed that the teeth were located on top of its nose, while others believed that the teeth were attached to the lower jaw, or even on its dorsal fin or down its throat. Either way, a shark with a saw for teeth is terrifying. Next, the forest rastidae is nicknamed the terror bird for a good reason. After dinosaurs went extinct, these 10-foot birds became the top predator in South America for 60 million years.
Really?
Their beaks could easily break the spine of a horse and crush the skull of their prey with one headbutt. They also had the same feet as T-Rexes. And lastly, the titanoboa is considered to be the biggest snake to ever exist, with a measurement of 50 feet in length, 10 times the size of a green anaconda. It lived 60 million years ago in what's now Colombia, and scientists were conflicted when studying this creature as it defied the laws of gravity. Usually, most land animals don't grow as large as this is because of gravity, but those that live in water don't deal with the same issues, which is why we have creatures like the blue whale. So many believe that the titanoboa spent a lot of time in water. Not to mention, it also preyed on crocodiles. So if one still exists, stay on land.
Disclaimer, depending on when you're watching this, there might just be a gender war in the comments, which is crazy because we're talking about baboons, so you probably know the deal with baboons, right? Usually the biggest, most belligerent alpha males, you know, the top ape, they're the ones that get the most, you know, while the lesser males, the best they could do is get the scraps. And how does a baboon become an alpha? Oh, easy. Violence. Lots of it. It's like a vicious cycle. The most aggressive baboons are the ones doing the most gooning. The more baboonery becomes generational. Except the cycle did break at one point. There was a point, I think it was like in the 1980s or something, where a bunch of baboons ate at a garbage dump, caught tuberculosis, and took a permanent leave from life. Oh, they dead. And with a lot of the aggro males out of commission, that left a lot of mild-mannered survivors. Now, you might think they took the opportunity to start big flexing, like on some bully become the bullies type shit. Actually, no, they were in fact chill like that. Now, normally the alpha males would regularly have temper tantrums and would beat on other males, females, and if you were an unsupervised minor, you could really get the Hope to Loki treatment. But nah, these new males were kinder. They would spend more time grooming females, but not like in the weird YouTuber kind of way. They would even babysit for other females. And you know, since male baboons leave their birth troop to join a new one, new members would see this and be like, oh, so this is what we doing? I bet. Basically, there was a whole culture shift, and all it took was the bullies getting blacklisted from the census. And yeah, we're still talking about baboons here. The same ones that jump leopards and eat baby gazelles fresh out the womb. Those baboons, the more you know.
Like I said, the more you know, man. Change happens over time. Prime example in nature.
A high school football star who took his own life after falling victim to a sextortion scam is finally seeing justice. Nigerian brothers Samuel and Samson Ogoshi posed as a woman on Instagram and tricked 17-year-old Jordan DeMay into sending them intimate photos. They demanded the teen send them $1,000, threatening to share the pictures with his friends and family if he didn't pay up. 6 hours later, DeMay was found dead. His last message was, "I'm killing myself right now because of you." Now the scammers have pleaded guilty to conspiring to exploit teenage boys.
The infamous case of the woman that cut off her husband's manhood. When Lorena married John Bobbitt, she thought that it was going to be happily ever after. But in reality, John started hurting Lorena the second they tied the knot. Physically, emotionally, and then he started essaying her. This guy was a huge a-hole. Unemployed while his wife worked 2 jobs, forced Lorena to end a pregnancy that she wanted to keep. Cheating on her. On top of all of that, he would go out, get super drunk every night, then come home and essay Lorena. Then one night in June of 1993, after John essayed his wife and passed out drunk, his wife Lorena went to the kitchen to get herself a glass of water, where a large cutting instrument was in plain view, which Lorena took back into her bedroom and cut off John's member. She then got in her car and left and threw it out the car window. But somehow they were able to find it in time and reattach it after a 9-hour surgery. There was actually 2 trials in this story, one for what Lorena did to John and one for what John did to Lorena, and they were actually both found not guilty. They obviously divorced and went on to live very different lives. Today, Lorena is a wife and mother, and also the founder of her own foundation against domestic violence. After the incident, John went on to star in some adult movies. Today, he's unemployed and has been married and divorced 3 times. And just last week, he publicly announced that after drinking contaminated water, he had to have all 10 of his toes recently amputated, which doctors were unable to reattach.
Is this AI? Netflix is facing criticism for allegedly using computer-generated images in a true crime documentary. What Jennifer did details how then 24-year-old Jennifer Pan arranged a kill-for-hire attack on her parents, but what's really haunting viewers is some of the uncanny pictures used in the movie. In one of the photos in question, Pan's hands appear to be missing fingers, and parts of the background look warped. In another, her ears and teeth look amiss. Now viewers are questioning whether or not the use of AI in documentaries is ethical. So what do you think? Is there a serial?
I don't think that's ethical, man, because documentary, that's supposed to be like, you're supposed to have the facts straight down right to the point. AI, you can use that to manipulate the pictures, the facts and things like that. So that takes away, I guess, the truth of it, which is the whole point of a documentary, right? To present the truth. This technology is getting too crazy.
Killer terrorizing Texas. 2 bodies have been found in Austin's Lady Bird Lake, bringing the total to 12 since 2022. Police say the deaths are likely accidental due to the lake's proximity to popular nightlife spots, but rumors of a possible Rainy Street Ripper continue to swirl as the bodies keep piling up. While cops have ruled out foul play in several cases, at least 1 death remains unsolved. One local bartender has a hard time accepting there's not something more sinister at play, saying, "I find it hard to see how people could leave Rainy and end up at the lake. You have to walk blocks to get there."
Guys, there's breaking news out of Yukon, Oklahoma this morning, where reports are that 5 individuals from the same family were all found DEAD in their home. Now, I know your first thought is that it was an MS, but the word is that it is not. It was not. This was a very brutal homicide. The word that I'm getting, of course, this is unconfirmed, but the word that I'm getting is that it was a mom and dad. They have 4 children. 3 of those children were still in school. 1 of those children graduated last year in 2023, and that it was their 10-year-old son who actually made the discovery. Mustang Public Schools there in Yukon, Oklahoma have confirmed that 2 of those victims were students at that school. Law enforcement was called to do a welfare check, and they went in and they discovered what is being described as a very violent scene. There is no official word on the actual cause of DEATH. Sorry, I'm having to spell everything out. I just don't want this taken down. I do know the names of the victims. However, I have not seen that publicly released anywhere. I'm not going to go ahead and share it. I'm going to wait until law enforcement officially gives names, releases names. They are supposed to be giving out more information tomorrow morning. As soon as that information is available, I will come back and share it with you guys.
The Egyptian woman that you just saw in that video, Manar Sami, was sentenced to 3 years in prison for the content she posted on TikTok.
No way.
But what exactly was she posting on TikTok that got her sent to prison? Well, nothing out of the ordinary. Dancing, lip syncing, and basic innocuous content. But she was arrested in 2020 on charges of, I'm going to read this to you, inciting debauchery, immorality, and stirring up instincts.
What?
Yes, she was arrested for immorality and inciting debauchery with her dancing TikTok videos. Well, Manar, like I said, was eventually sentenced to 3 years in prison.
No.
This happened back in 2020 when a number of Egyptian female TikTok influencers were randomly targeted and sentenced to prison time. After being found guilty, she was also ordered to pay 300,000 Egyptian pounds to the government. She did eventually get out of prison though, and she's still active here on TikTok. And over on Instagram too. I just couldn't believe it when I saw that video and saw that content like that got her sentenced to 3 years in prison. It's pretty wild to me.
Nah, just imagine y'all doing some TikTok dances and man, the police pulls up to you and they say you get 3 years in prison because you were inciting debauchery. You will look at them like, what the hell are you talking about? Different laws in different places in the world. Never ceases to amaze me. She only got 3 years for dancing? Edit. That's one of the most bizarre cases we've heard yet.
Which, Shannon, stingrays are pregnant all the time, right? Who cares? Wrong, because this stingray is in a tank of all other female stingrays and some sharks.
So stingrays are one of the few animals able to do parthenogenesis, which is just cloning themselves without fertilization, aka they need a man about as much as a fish needs a bicycle, which is not at all. And as close cousins of stingrays, some sharks like hammerheads and blacktips can parthenogenesis as well. Komodo dragons and zoos have been known to do the multiplying magic trick too. I'm not going to sit here and act like I know everything. I googled the number, and apparently there's over 80 animals that can have an immaculate conception. But that really shouldn't be surprising. There's an animal that only ever uses this because they got the opposite of a sausage party. They got clouder power. Clouder is a name for a group of cats. This is a whip-tailed lizard, and every single one alive is a female. There are no males in existence. Where did they come from? Where they all go? Don't ask me. I honestly don't know. If someone more knowledgeable than me wants to drop the facts, please do. I'll pin you. But yeah, they're all female, and they all use parthenogenesis. But the freaky part is they still got it, like, how am I gonna say this? Basically what I'm afraid Godline's finna do to me, these lesbianist lizards pretend to do to each other, because I guess it triggers ovulation. I don't know, bro. I'm still stuck on the fact all the males got snoot off the senses. But yeah, from lizards to dragons, from pythons to water placemats, some animals can Xerox themselves, the more you know.
Damn. Never knew.
Recently, several women have been randomly punched in the face.
A man came up and punched me in the face. I just got punched in the face.
He's sorry, and then punches me.
Punched me and punched
The injuries range from a black eye to as severe as a broken nose. The man believed to be responsible is 30-year-old Jean Carlos Zarzuela. Police caught and arrested him, but the court utterly failed. He was quickly released from jail without bail, and 9 days later at the Grand Central Terminal in New York, he struck again. According to reports yesterday, he punched an innocent 9-year-old girl, leaving her dizzy and in pain. As of now, he is currently in jail, but if the court failed to keep him locked up and removed the bail, who's to say he's not going to be released again? With that being said, if you are a woman living in New York, please keep an eye out for this man, as he's extremely dangerous.
Former cop showed up at the school yesterday during dismissal and took the life of his ex-wife, and then he fled. And looking for him, the cops went to his home, and then they found his 17-year-old girlfriend there, whom he got pregnant at 15. She was unalived also. Now, this happened in Washington, and the age of consent in Washington is 16 years old. So he was due in court yesterday to answer to charges of him impregnating her at 15, as well as taking advantage of her friend who spent the night at their home. So the 17-year-old girl had moved in with him, and she had a friend over that was 16 years old. They was drinking throughout the day or whatever. Then she said that she went to bed with her friend, in the bed with her friend. She woke up to her boyfriend, who's 39 years old, taking advantage of her friend. Like I said, he had impregnated his girlfriend, and when this happened, that baby was 9 months old. But now that baby is one, he has abducted that baby and he's on the run. Now the 17-year-old's name is Angelica Santos, but they call her Jelly. And Jelly's brother did take to Facebook yesterday because he thought the former cop had also abducted Jelly and the baby, but it turns out that Jelly was in his home unalive. Now he and his ex-wife do have 2 children together. She tried to change the custody arrangement because she felt like he was a threat to her and her children. She said he was emotionally and mentally unstable. He had been harassing her so much throughout their divorce that she had to get a protection order. On top of going through that, he was also dealing with the issue with the 16 and the 17-year-old that he got pregnant when she was 15. Now, I just hope that in them catching him, he don't decide to take his life as well as that baby's life.
Crazy ass case.
Are you tired that the police are finally going to figure out that you're the one with all the dead bodies in your basement? If so, congratulations, you once again made it to Criminal TikTok, and today I'm going over some tips and tricks on how to not become a serial killing suspect. So if you have a friend who might need this video, make sure to tag them below. Tip and trick number 1, a lot of serial killers, as they kill more people, they get more and more lazy, so they stop driving out as far and get closer and closer to their home. You're basically leading the detectives directly to your house. So make sure as you kill more people, you go further and further away. Alright, tip and trick number 2, ideally you're not even unaliving people in your own country. You see, you might know your own country more, but your own country also knows you more. If you're constantly traveling to new countries and having a little bit of fun while you're there, the police will never look in the right place because they always expect someone who lives there or had a connection to the victim to be the one that did it. And also think about it, when was the last time you heard of an international serial killer? You haven't, because they never get caught. Step number 3, I know it's very hard for some of you to limit yourself, but if you could hypothetically limit your unalivings to 1 every 2 to 3 months and in different locations, the police will never connect these together, giving you a much greater chance of escaping. Last but not least, a lot of people get caught because they'll commit a completely separate crime and the police will investigate them and figure out that they're the ones doing the serial killings. Yeah, just don't be that guy. Thanks for watching, and follow for more tips and tricks.
I knew
Look into
I would
his
end up
TikTok.
dead. Those
There's
were the
something
chilling
there's something
final
awful
words
about
Laura
that.
Cowell wrote to her daughter after falling victim to a Match.com scam before mysteriously drowning. The widower had been in a relationship with a man she met on the dating site who went by Frank Borg for over a year when her body was found in a river nearly 4 hours from her home. Before her death, Borg had scammed her out of $1.5 million.
What?
Her car was found 50 miles from her body, and her cause of death was determined to be drowning.
West Virginia man gets life for killing his daughter and son-in-law over an alleged incestuous relationship. On April 22nd, they found him guilty for 2 counts of first-degree murder. This whole thing happened back in 2022, and he will now serve life behind bars. He needs to serve 30 years before he'll be eligible for parole. Apparently, cops pulled up to the scene with reports of gunshots. That's when Carl Cox behind me said he had to wrestle the gun out of her boyfriend's hand to shoot him. However, his story was not adding up. Both of them were lying in bed, and it looks like they had been shot while they were lying down. They also found a few bullets that penetrated through the mattress. So Carl Cox's story behind me was just not adding up. There was also no signs of struggle. So he was trying to frame this entire incident. And of course, a good old surveillance camera caught him walking towards the bedroom with a gun in hand. And he kept lying in court. But he messed up when he told a fellow inmate that he killed both of those people, his daughter and his son-in-law. I'm not sure what his game plan is here. He was lying to the court but telling others what he actually did. But here's where things make sense and get really, really disgusting. One of his children came forward saying that he was having an incestuous relationship with his daughter that he shot. So I guess he got jealous that she had a boyfriend or husband and then went and killed them both. Now that is absolutely disgusting, and that makes a lot of sense with this story. Let me know what you guys think about this case in the comment section below, and as always, these videos are for informational purposes only.
Crazy. The things people do. I guess you can when they get jealous. But that was just a disturbing relationship in itself.
This is the creepiest unsolved mystery because this man is still out there. Like, they never caught him. The media called him Mr. Cruel, and he was a predator from 1987 to 1991 in Australia. This literally looks like a creepypasta, but I swear it's not. He had 4 attacks, and they were similar. He was either abducting children or abusing them. He'd stalk his victims for months to plan out his attacks. Like, listen to this. So all of these pictures are like real police sketches of what he supposedly looked like, which just makes it so much creepier. Like, this is his first attack. He was armed with a knife and a handgun. He was wearing his mask. He broke into this house at 4 a.m. and he locked the parents in a closet and tied their young son to the bed, cut the phone cords in the house, and did unspeakable things to the daughter. All very young children. Another attack, he broke into the home with the same weapons, the same description. Also at 5 a.m., like very similar times, he bound and gagged the parents, and then he abducted their daughter. He addressed the daughter, her name is Sharon, by her name. Which is alarming because it's like, how did he know her name? Does he actually know the family? No one knows who this guy is. Maybe this was their neighbor. Similarly, once the family was able to free themselves, they went to the phone and all the phone lines were cut. Next day, they found their daughter walking around with a trash bag. She said that she had been assaulted many times and tortured in unspeakable ways. And he gave her a bath after and clipped her nails and flossed her teeth so there wouldn't be any evidence. Also, this is all for educational purposes, of course. When the last victim was abused and abducted, her family put out a $300,000 reward if she was ever returned. And they involved the police, but she was never found again. They ended up finding her skeleton years later. Like, this guy walking his dog stumbled upon her skeleton, and she had 3 wounds in the head. All of these attacks were very calculated, and there was no evidence. There was literally no evidence. This man was so smart, no one could ever identify him. He thought of everything. And they think that they found evidence, they think they'd have a lead, they'd question people, and then they'd get thrown off. They narrowed it down to 30,000 suspects, and then they watched them, and they questioned 15,000 of them, and every time they got a lead, they'd get thrown off. So no one ever knows who this man is. He might still be out there, he might be gone by now, who knows? If you like my content, follow my TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube for more. It really helps when you interact. Also, go check out those other platforms, because you know what's going on right now.
This is probably one of the most hated people on the internet right now. Mr. Beast did another competition where ages 1 through 100 compete to win $250,000. During one point of the competition, they spun a wheel, and whatever number it landed on, that was the number of the person that then got to decide the fate of all the rest of the contestants whose number the wheel landed on. Number 43 was in charge, but had number 42 in their ear, basically telling them, just eliminate everybody. Now, before the contestants were eliminated, they had the chance to plead their case on why they should stay. And then it finally lands on number 11, which is an 11-year-old child.
You are a kind person. You are kind enough to not eliminate me.
Save Gio! Then we had 42 in her ear saying,
don't do it. Now's not the time to develop a heart, okay?
43 responds and says, okay, and proceeds to eliminate number 11.
So much. You are literally the coolest 11-year-old I've ever seen. You've got tons of energy and spunk, and your future is super bright. But unfortunately, your time here is over.
And number 11 cheerfully leaves the game. However,
wow, that's cold-blooded.
towards the end of the game, they blacked out everybody's cue. And if only one person left their cue, they would win $250,000, which was what the prize was to begin with. But if another person stepped out, they were both eliminated and no one got the money. Oh, number 42 yelled, "I'm going to walk out of my queue," which meant if anyone else walked out, then they both lose. So 42 steps out, and at the very last second, 58 also walks out, just so 42 doesn't win.
She said you ain't getting that money, my guy.
If you've been following, you know Alicia was abducted from her bed by 16-year-old Aaron Campbell. He's just been moved to an adult prison where he says he is terrified that he'll be targeted for what he did to her. You see, on July 2nd, Alicia was actually on vacation, visiting her dad on the Isle of View. He and his girlfriend reportedly watched Peppa Pig with her before bed, and then, like everyone there, they left the house key in the front door. Now, meanwhile, about 5 minutes away, then 16-year-old Aaron was celebrating the end of exams. He had about 15 friends over that night, but by 12:30, he reportedly got into a fight with his mom, and his attitude changed. One of his friends actually came up to his room to check on him, but he just insisted. After going to get some substances, he'd be fine. His friends then ended up leaving his house, and he texted the couple who was known to sell him said substances. And that was Alicia's 26-year-old father and his girlfriend. As we know, at 1:46, Aaron texted Robert like he always did, but with no response after 6 minutes, he decided to head over there himself. He then walked the 5 minutes to Alicia's grandparents' house where he lived, and armed with a kitchen knife, he simply walked inside. Alicia's bedroom was actually the closest room to the door, and as soon as he saw her, he, quote, knew that he had to kill her. From here, Aaron picked Alicia up, and he started walking with her along the shore. She actually woke up at one point and asked what was going on, but he told her he knew her dad and was just taking her home. Instead, he took her to the old site of the Kyles at Butte Hotel, where he inflicted 117 catastrophic injuries. Tragically, a coroner would note that he violently shook her, and he took his time. Now, come the next morning, when Alicia wasn't in her bed, the entire town started searching. And then, around that same time, her dad and his girlfriend, of course, saw that they had this missed text from Aaron. They called him back that morning to ask what he needed and to see if he could help look for Alicia, but he responded, quote, "It doesn't matter anymore. And oh damn, I'm sure she's not gone too far." Now, by 8 that morning, a local searcher found Alicia's body, along with all of her clothing had been thrown into the sea. Her funeral was held about 5 days later, but her mom wasn't the only mother there upset. Aaron's mom was there too, and she actually wanted to do anything she could to help. So, she offered to check her family's security cameras. Now, when Jeanette checked these cameras, her heart sank, because there was her son leaving at the same time Alicia disappeared. She immediately went to ask him about it, but he must have had a good explanation. She ended up taking that footage and giving it to police in an effort to clear his name. As we know, while police initially brought Aaron in as a witness, he eventually confessed to the crime in detail. He was charged with murder on July 4th, but as if it couldn't get worse, he then said he was quite satisfied with what he'd done. He was then legally disowned by his parents, and for the first time in Scottish history, a judge ruled to release the juvenile's name. In the end, Aaron was sentenced to 27 years in prison, telling psychologists that he'd been having dark fantasies for years. He's already been hospitalized several times from attacks at the Young Offenders Institution, which may explain why he was training every day for this move to adult prison. Again, reports state that he knows he'll have a target on his back for what he did to Alicia.
This woman poured boiling sugar all over her husband's body, and this case is absolutely mind-blowing. This case takes place in England on July 14th, 2020. Karina Smith was a 59-year-old woman and was married to an 81-year-old man named Michael Baines. I tried to find pictures of Michael, but I think none are available on the internet. Michael was in need of care due to his poor health, and because of their difference in age, Karina was able to become his primary caregiver. The two had a child together named Michael Jr., and Karina had another son and daughter from a previous relationship. But in 2007, her son Craig took his own life at just the age of 25. Before his death, he went to prison for attacking a man. Following this, Craig became distressed and spoke to his mother. He said the man he attacked was a predator, and that a predator had touched him inappropriately in the past. He said, "Mom, he's a predator." Shortly after this, Craig took his own life. Karina had formed a relationship with Michael while he was in his 40s and her in her 20s. She said the relationship was positive at first, but that was until his age began to become more noticeable. And things started to deteriorate as he aged, but despite this, she still provided Michael with the care he needed. On the 13th of July 2020, people who knew Karina said she had been acting differently and was described as angry and very upset. This was because her daughter had opened up about some horrific trauma both she and her now deceased brother had experienced at the hands of their stepfather, Michael.
Karina's daughter told her that when they were younger, Michael would take advantage of them both and would touch them inappropriately. After Karina heard these allegations from her daughter, she remembered what her son told her about being attacked by a predator. The guilt of Craig's suffering from such a fate stayed with her for years, and a deep rage began to burn inside of her. On July 14th, 2020, at around 10 a.m., Karina returned to her home that she shared with Michael. She entered the home and grabbed a bucket, along with 3 kilograms of sugar that she had just bought. She then began to boil a large amount of water, creating a boiling syrup. Once this concoction was ready and scalding hot, Karina slowly entered Michael's bedroom. Michael was fast asleep and totally unaware that his wife was standing over him holding a bucket filled with boiling sugar. Filled with rage, Karina began to pour the boiling sugar all over her sleeping husband's body. Michael woke up and began to scream as the liquid destroyed his skin. This mixture of sugar and boiling water is often referred to as prison napalm, due to the horrific burns it can cause. Once the bucket was empty, Karina ran over to her neighbor's house, which was 9 doors down. She banged on the door until the neighbor answered. Karina didn't know her well, but told her what she had done. The neighbor called the police and explained what happened, and when the police arrived, they entered the home and found Michael whimpering in bed with skin on his arms and torso beginning to peel off. Michael was rushed to the hospital and Karina was arrested. Karina was then asked why she did this to her husband, in which she explained what her daughter told her, and that she became so enraged that she poured the liquid all over her husband. Michael was able to be stabilized but suffered burns to 36% of his body, and 2 weeks later Michael passed away from his injuries. Karina was then charged with murder and was then found guilty of murder, and she was sentenced to life in prison, with a minimum term of 12 years. Cases like this always cause division. To some, Karina was a hero and someone who took revenge to protect her children, while others see her as a reckless murderer who killed her husband based off one simple allegation. So let me know your opinion on this crazy, crazy case.
Man. That kids told her, she just snapped. And when that rage boils inside of you, you don't know what it will make you do. Guys, if you guys stay with me to the end of the video, you're a truth seeker, seeking the truth. I really appreciate that, man. Can you guys subscribe to the channel, smash that like button, also hit that post notification bell. Have you guys noticed I've changed my style, man? Like I said, you guys told me to quit the pausing. I like trying to limit to 3 or 4 times a video. I'm letting it play out. Hold my thoughts till after, man. I said stop saying seeker, so I'm gonna stop saying that. I'm gonna say it a couple of times, man. But that's our community, man. That's what we called, and I just want to grow that, and I know we can do that together. So really appreciate the support, man. Like I said, these changes are coming to the channel. Guys, stick with me, man. We're gonna end April off strong, man. Can I get a like clapping emojis in the comments, man? I haven't missed a day of April. Haven't missed a day yet. Daily uploading. Guys gonna catch you in the next one, man. Hello, seeking the truth with you guys. Peace, you dude. What's up, seekers? Welcome back to the channel, man. How you guys doing? Hopefully you guys are doing all right, man. If you're brand new to this channel, if you guys don't know what we do, man, we break down scary and creepy videos, man, on the net, on the web, from YouTube videos to TikTok videos, IG reels, Facebook reels, man. Anything weird, usually unexplained, you can find right here on this channel. Just like I said, I want to thank the seekers, man, who's been tapping in with us, man, subbing up to the channel and hitting that like button, man. I really appreciate that, man. Like I said, guys, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, hit that post notification bell so we can grow our community together. Found this video for you guys today, man. Let's do what we do best, seekers. Let's seek the truth.
Missed the total solar eclipse on April the 8th, you may never see one again. And here's why. People are making such a big deal about this eclipse that the Niagara Falls region has had to declare a state of emergency to prepare for the amount of crowds trying to see it. Now, what makes this one so special is that the time for total coverage of the sun will last for a massive 4 minutes and 23 seconds in some areas. Our sun is approaching its solar maximum, which is a period of time where it's most active, meaning this eclipse is perfectly timed for you to have the chance of seeing some insane flares. You'll see stars in the middle of the day, the air will suddenly get cooler, and the reason you may never experience it again is that a lot of the time the shadow of a total solar eclipse passes through the ocean, the tip of South America, the coast of Iceland, so for a city to find itself in this path of totality again, you'll have to wait another 375 years. Now, if you don't live in these cities, almost everyone in North America will still get the chance to see a partial solar eclipse. So I'll be sure to make an update the day before to remind you that this is the scary story.
Seekers, man, when he's talking about that solar eclipse, bro, the part I'm focusing on, he says that 4 minutes and 23 seconds, man, where it's just like, says it's just gonna be complete, I guess, not complete darkness, but it's gonna cover up the sun, so it's gonna be like, yeah, it's gonna be kind of dark in some areas, man. I wonder what's gonna happen, man. People gonna try to, is that gonna turn into something else, man? You know how people are, bro, when, like, I guess events and stuff happens around the world, Seekers. That's something we're gonna have to keep an eye on, man. Remember, 4 minutes and 23 seconds? I don't know, Seekers, bro. About the eclipse, man. Yeah, guys gonna check it out?
Story about the Easter Bunny. One night, a kid named Jimmy was lying in bed. It was Easter the next day, and Jimmy couldn't wait. Suddenly, as Jimmy was trying to fall back asleep, he heard a noise come from downstairs. At first, he didn't care, but when he heard the noise again, he got up and went down the stairs to go check it out. Jimmy was really hoping that it was the Easter Bunny. When Jimmy got downstairs, he saw the Easter Bunny just standing there. Jimmy got excited and tried to talk to him, but before Jimmy could even speak, the Easter Bunny jumped at him. The next morning, Jimmy's parents got up and went downstairs. When they went into the living room to look at the Easter baskets, they froze in horror. In the one basket was Jimmy's decapitated head. Jimmy's parents then freaked out and called the police. The police then told them that a man was dressing up as the Easter Bunny last night and was breaking into people's houses and killing them. I'm gonna show you a picture and tell me how it makes you feel. There's an extremely dark backstory behind this photo. One that you probably wouldn't suspect. This was way out in Jefferson County, Georgia. This is back in 2017, and there was a lot of suspicious activity coming out of this area. This was right around April of that year, kind of near Easter time, so of course families had a lot of plans to have their family in town, despite there being a lot of break-ins in this area. So very late one evening, the girl where the story came from was home with her family, her two older brothers, when it appears that she must have heard something outside of her room because she got out of bed. Because there was a smashed dish that was found at the scene, we can assume that was what she heard. So she left her room and immediately started filming, thinking that it was probably her older brother. So she was trying to make a joke. Only when she left her room, it was not her brother in the kitchen. No one seemed to hear anything, but she was found the following morning in the backyard of the home, and this was one of the final frames that was captured on her phone that was released publicly.
Seekers, man, what is it about the holidays time, bro, that people just decide to freaking do some weird things, man? You dressed up like a damn Easter bunny, bro? And why would you end Easter on a holiday like that, man? That's just a smack in the face. Doing it on that holiday, freaking taking people away from their families. That's not what Easter's about, Seekers. But people, they twisted it and freaking to try to turn it into something else, man. You're gonna have to look into this Easter story, Seekers. Something about that, bro.
Imagine seeing a man walking down the street eating a severed leg. On March 22nd of this year, around 8 a.m. in Kern County, California, there was a fatal train collision that had killed somebody. This collision happened at the city's Amtrak station. 27-year-old Rosendo Tellez was near the scene and actually went up to the victim and snatched his leg. He then started to walk around the area carrying that victim's leg. People in the area saw what he was carrying, and that's when they decided to record him. That's when they realized that Rosendo was walking around biting from that leg and eating it. The video was then posted on social media, and it showed him walking around with the leg, and then he started waving it around police cars that were near the area. That same day, Rosendo was arrested. He was charged with removal of human remains other than a cemetery, 1 misdemeanor count of controlled substance paraphernalia, and 1 felony offense of his probation. May that victim forever rest in peace.
What's the eat a human leg? What the hell is going through his mind, man? Crazy world, Seekers. Edit. Gotta call it like I see it.
The most evil kids ever. Part 3. Here is India's youngest serial killer ever, Amarjit Sada. This young Indian boy was accused of murdering 3 babies. The young boy's first 2 murders were done to his family members. Amarjit murdered his 6-month-old cousin and his 8-month-old sister. He would throw a brick at the baby's head to make them unconscious and then strangle them to death. The worst part was Amarjit's family knew what was happening, they just did not care. Days later, the young boy went to his neighbors and abducted the newborn baby from them. He then killed his neighbor's baby using the same torture method. Amarjit was caught committing the crimes. When the police asked the little boy why he committed the crimes, he just laughed and asked for a biscuit. Amarjit was sentenced to 10 years in prison. This is him now, a free man. You should never...
They didn't even freaking care, bro. That's the part that got to me, Seekers, man. His family knew what he was doing, those acts, and they just didn't care. They just let it continue. And since they didn't stop him, it spread into somebody else's family. Trying to tell you guys, Seekers, man. These videos, bro, be expanding my mind. I didn't even know something like that even happened, bro. Like, what the hell? If you don't do something, man, to stop the problem, man, it can affect other people. So just take care of it now, Seekers.
Never trust the Easter Bunny, and this is childhood actors who became murderers. Meet Ryan Grantham. Ryan Grantham starred in the Diary of a Wimpy Kid movie and Riverdale. But on March 31st of 2020, his life took a dark turn. He unalived his mother while she was playing the piano and was sentenced to life in prison. His reason behind doing this was because he wanted to spare her from seeing the violence that he was going to commit later on.
You know, there's a lot of stuff, Seekers, man, that's been going on with these freaking, you know, childhood actors in Hollywood recently. That's just another one who just took a dark turn. I mean, I watched the Diary of a Wimpy Kid, so when that name came out, I'm like, what the hell? I remember. I started to remember. I'm just like, what do these kids be going through in this Hollywood process, man, that just freaking like changes their mindsets, man? There's something, man, going on in that Hollywood when it comes to kids that we really gotta pay attention to, or someone just has to do a deep dive into it, Seekers, man. There's like something that's going on that we really don't know about.
I hope y'all live your life well without seeing my child, Gabrielle Blair. You lived well without seeing them throughout their whole life, so live well now. But you ain't got nothing to say to me for what I did for my child, period.
As a mother, one of your primary responsibilities was to protect your kid. And in that respect, you failed in the worst possible way. There's nothing that can be done at this point to change what happened.
True, that's why I'm asking for life.
They lived in terrible fear of you. And I find that just so sad in this case. You imposed the death penalty on your own children.
I did.
You're therefore sentenced to the Michigan Department of Corrections for the rest of your life without the possibility of parole, meaning, of course, that you will never get out. You will receive credit for 115 days.
On February 15, 2018, the defendant, Pearl Cynthia Fernandez, entered a plea to murder in the first degree and further admitted the special circumstance of intentional murder by torture. Accordingly, it is the judgment and sentence of this court that the defendant shall be sentenced to a term of life in prison without the possibility of parole for the underlying murder charge.
I'm sorry to my children. I want them to know that I love them.
It's a sin that should be in the script.
And hopefully they would come to me. I wish for the safety.
The story of the School of Rock pedophile is one of the most disturbing things I've ever read about. Meet Jason James Murphy, a former Hollywood casting agent who, before he worked as a casting agent for children, had been convicted of one of the most terrible crimes I've read about. So when Jason was just 19 years old, he was in college at the time, he kidnapped an 8-year-old boy, held him hostage, and repeatedly assaulted him. He had met the boy while he was working as a camp counselor, and he eventually served 5 years in prison and was obviously required to register as a sex offender for the rest of his life. But in 2005, just a few years after Jason got out of prison, he moved to California, and that's when he started working in Hollywood.
Jason was a casting agent for a number of huge films. He worked by helping to cast the children in the film School of Rock. He also helped to cast the film Cheaper by the Dozen, which obviously has a lot of kids in it. And he worked on a number of different movies, including stuff like Super 8 by J.J. Abrams. Now, apparently, people didn't really know about his past, which I think is really strange, because if they were actually doing background checks on the people that they hired, they would see that this man had served 5 years in prison. But in 2011, he was rearrested for failing to file a name change. Now, he was arrested again in 2011 after he had worked on all these movies because he failed to file a name change and a change of address with the government. But he had apparently been working for years under a different name. And I mean, this guy was trying to outrun his sordid past, but with such a horrible crime that you've committed, you can never outrun that. And I don't know if he's still working with Hollywood, working around kids, but I really hope that he's not.
See, because we were just talking about what's going on with Hollywood. That's another prime example. How the heck you don't know, man? You didn't look into his past when you hired people? You would think at Hollywood they would do that.
What they find out years later will haunt you. A young couple decided to take a late-night stroll through the forest, but little did they know what awaited them. As they walked, the man felt a sense of unease, but his girlfriend dismissed his concerns. Suddenly, the man stepped on something that felt alive and squishy under his feet. Before he could react, they heard rustling from the bushes beside them. They ignored it and kept walking until they returned home. Years later, and they were watching TV when an interview with a death row inmate caught their attention. The man had been asked if he had ever came close to getting caught for his heinous crimes. The killer responded with a chilling tale. "Yes, I remember one night in the woods a couple walked right by me. The man stepped on the body of the girl who I had just killed. I was hiding in the bushes just a few feet away, but they never saw me." The couple watched in horror as the name of one of the most notorious serial killers was revealed. His name was Ted Bundy. Follow, because my next story is crazy.
Seekers, man. You never know. That's why you always got to be aware of your surroundings. They were just walking through the woods, and like this probably average night walk for them, man. And what they stumbled upon, bro, that could have freaking changed their life forever, man. They survived that, man. They was able to go home. You always gotta be where you're surrounded, Seekers, man. You never know who's around, bro. It's a prime example.
You wanted to know more about Cherie Glenn, and I found you more. Now, this was the leaked booking photo of Cherie Glenn, one of America's most infamous cannibals from the 80s. So much of her story and these case records had been sealed from the public because it was deemed too disturbing to print. Even this booking photo, it was sealed. This is a leak. They did have somebody submit another leaked photo of this photo. It's just from a closer angle. Like I said, there's not really much that's publicly known because so much of her case was actually sealed. The rumors of the story was that the case was so bizarre and so horrific in the cannibalistic practices that it was difficult at the time to find a jury that could stand it. Descriptions of not only her consuming victims, but forcing victims to consume parts of her. Somebody also reached out and tracked down what they think might be a yearbook photo of her from the 70s. By no means is it 100% confirmed, but it does look really similar to her. It's 100% in the eyes.
I can't believe that case was so severe that they had to close it.
This
No
has to be
details.
one of the scariest videos I've ever seen. No ghosts, no spirits, real life. A young female real estate photographer was taking photos for her job one day. She happened to be in an occupied house. A resident began following her around. She says this wasn't unusual, so she didn't think anything of it, until she started noticing multiple locks on certain doors, and even a camera pointed toward one of these doors. When she goes upstairs, a man comes out of one of the rooms. What happens next is straight out of a horror film. You have to see the video for yourself.
Okay, so I took pictures of this house, and this guy was following me around like the whole time, which isn't unusual, but he was a little bit strange, and there was like 6 people living in this house, at the Porter house. But I also noticed they have like 3 locks on the door, and then down here they have locks, and then going up here they have a camera, and it's facing this door. Anyway, a roommate comes out of this door, and he asks them if he should lock the door and kidnap me. And I said, immediately, people know where I am. And then he laughed and said, no one would ever hear from you again. Bro, I did not even finish this
house, I immediately left. I was like, nope, dipped the f out.
You should.
You can see me right there. Hello. But yeah, pretty sure I maybe almost got kidnapped, but I don't really know.
If you're a woman and you've ever had any close calls like this, let me know in the comments below. We need to spread awareness that things like this really happen.
Yo,
She should wear her surroundings here, man. Like, they had all those locks on that door. That's already suspicious, and the camera pointed towards the door. And she said it was a water house, so there's a lot of people in there, man. But those locks, that was like a dead giveaway that something weird was going on. And for him to just be so bluntly about it, saying nobody would know you were gone, like, what the hell was going through his mind? And she dipped out of it. She did what she was supposed to do. Get out. See, if you're in a situation like that, and if you can exit, leave that situation, take it, because you never know what's the alternative.
Tell me you didn't delete the video of the dead kid. It's $10K if you give to the popo. That's one of the texts accused killer Taylor Sherman received after he and his friends, known as the Gilbert Goons Gang, allegedly beat 16-year-old Preston Lord to death. After the incident, the FBI was offering a $10,000 reward for more information. In another message, accused killer Jacob Meisner asked people to delete the videos to cover their tracks. All 7 suspects have pleaded not guilty.
This video evidence is not too much they can do, man. It's like their fate is sealed. Gotta face the consequences of their action, man.
I paused and he said, "Why are you doing this?" And I said, "I've been wanting to do this for a long time, or something." And then I continue. I cut open his belly to see his guts. They're really pink. Sorry, that was morbid. It's okay if I do it in this way. Oh, yeah. This is him. I was straddled on top of him like this. Okay. And he couldn't fight back. It was actually surprisingly easy. I was barely breaking a sweat. I thought, oh, this guy, he's going to be tough. But no, it was actually surprisingly easy.
Hi, I'm Cam, and you might recognize this man as the former spokesperson for Subway. But today, he's eating cold prison meals and getting beat up by other inmates because Jared Fogle is a pedophile. Jared rose to fame when someone wrote an article about him in a student newsletter about his weight loss journey. Jared had dropped 245 pounds and claimed it was from eating Subway sandwiches. He did over 300 advertisements for Subway from 2000 to 2015. In 2004, Jared created the Jared Foundation, a nonprofit raising awareness about childhood obesity. In reality, the nonprofit didn't distribute any grants or funds like it promised, and the director, Russell Taylor, was arrested for child exploitation and possession of child porn. Jared came under the spotlight of the FBI when a radio host brought text messages and audio recordings of Jared claiming he was having sex with underage girls. He also asked the radio host to install cameras in her children's room so he could watch them. But the FBI apparently needed more evidence than that and didn't charge him. The FBI eventually raided his house and Jared Fogle was charged. He was sentenced to 15 years in prison. In March of 2016, Jared was attacked by another inmate and was left with a bloody nose and swollen face.
Really did lose 245 pounds eating Subway sandwiches, and that's like a whole person and a half. I feel like I could do anything.
This couple were eaten alive by a grizzly bear captured on harrowing video footage. It was October 2003. Timothy Treadwell was a 46-year-old grizzly bear enthusiast. He famously claimed that he felt more at home in nature with the bears than in normal human society. He spent a total of 13 summers in Alaska's Katmai National Park, documenting the giant creatures. He would stun people by how close he got to the giant animals. He said the animals understood him and that there was a mutual respect, and he would even occasionally wrestle with the baby cubs. Park rangers, though, were warning Timothy about how unpredictable the animals could be. This was what Timothy lived for, though. He seemed very willing to take the huge risk of getting up close and personal with these beautiful bears. Now, Timothy began to get complacent. On one occasion, he even left food open inside of his tent. Rangers had to warn him not to do this. Now, in the autumn in question, he was actually with his girlfriend Amy at the park. And they usually only stayed for the summer, but this year they were there much later into October. Bears are known to be a little bit more anxious and antagonistic this time of year as they are preparing for hibernation and food supplies are less. On the 5th of October, Timothy and his girlfriend were due to be picked up. They were getting a plane out of the national park, but when the pilot turned up, they were nowhere to be found. Near the campsite, the pilot stumbled upon something terrifying. A human ribcage lay on the floor. Park rangers were called and they were met by a terrifying bear. It tried to attack them, so they killed it. Human remains were later found in its stomach. They were the remains of Timothy and Amy. Timothy's video camera was later recovered from the campsite. The camera had captured the couple's brutal death. The audio from the camera was rolling and it picked up Timothy screaming that he was being killed out here. Amy then shouts at him to play dead and then encourages him to fight back. Tragically, they were both eaten by the grizzly bear.
At the end of the day, man, like I said, when people want to try to connect with nature, they gotta understand, like, these wild animals, at the end of the day, these animals, they're freaking wild animals, so they have their instincts, so even though you might think they're tamed, you never know what could happen, man. Like I said, it was close to hibernation, so it just, something went off, I guess, in that bear's head for food, and it just took it, man. Tragic story, Seekers.
How did you get the ropes on you? Who did them? You're not in trouble with me, okay? We're just trying to figure out what's going on. Our main focus right now is you, okay? Who put the ropes on you? Supposed to help you what?
Imagine being invited over for a study session only to be murdered and eaten by another student. This man literally killed and ate a human and never spent any time in jail. It was the 11th of June 1981 in Paris. Issei Sagawa was a Japanese man studying in France. On the day in question, he invited a fellow student round to help him translate poetry for an assignment. The student was Dutch woman Renee Hartveld. She had no idea he had sinister plans for her. She also wasn't aware of his dark and depraved past. He planned to kill and eat her, and his reasoning was that he felt that he was weak and ugly. She, on the other hand, was very healthy and beautiful. He thought if he ate her, he would take on her characteristics. When she showed up, he shot her in the neck. Horrifically, he then arred her body and tried to eat her, but realized his teeth weren't sharp enough. He decided to go out and come back with a sharp knife. Upon arrival back at the house, he ate part of her face, bum, feet and neck. He then saved some of her body parts in his fridge. Now as time went on, the rest of her body started to decompose. He panicked and took the rest of her remains over to a lake. Luckily, he was caught doing so and was found to have 2 suitcases with him filled with body parts. Now this should have been the end of the tale, and he should have gone to prison and served a lot of time for this hideous crime. It turned out, as a child, he'd experienced cannibalistic desires. When he was 24, he'd stalked a woman and followed her back to her apartment. He then broke in as she slept. Now she actually woke up and fought back. He was arrested and charged with R, but actually had a wealthy dad who just paid off the victim. A few years later, in 1977, he went to study in Paris. He claimed he would often bring home S-workers and intend to kill them, but just would freeze up. Now again, due to his wealthy family, when he got arrested for the horrific cannibal murder, he was able to afford a good lawyer. He was found legally insane and unfit to stand trial. He was then placed in a mental hospital for an unspecified amount of time. However, his case then started getting widespread media attention, and he was actually deported back to Japan. It was in Japan he was declared sane. Now the charges in France had been dropped, and he was released from hospital in 1986, and then was a free man. This was obviously heavily criticised by so many people. Staggeringly, he remained free until 2022, when he passed away from pneumonia in Tokyo, aged 73.
This is Funky Town, one of the worst cartoons.
If you can have that, I'm telling you, man, Seekers, man, when people have money and power, they can try to get away with anything, man. That's another prime example. He was declared legally insane, then when he came back, he was sane. So it's like, which one is it then, Seekers? He didn't face no consequences, man.
Here's how execution videos explained. Okay, before I begin, this is a massive trigger warning. The video begins in some sort of room and there is music playing. The first song that plays is Sweet Child of Mine by Guns N' Roses, and the camera pans to the victim tied on the floor with some plastic wire, but the torture already began before the video starts, because the victim looks like he already went through complete brutality. His hands have already been cut off and his face has been completely flayed, which means skinned. There is no skin on the victim's face at all, and his eyes have been gouged out, and there's an insane amount of blood on the floor. But the most messed up part about this is that the victim is hooked up to some sort of IV, and the IV is pumping him with drugs to keep him alive and aware, making sure he felt everything happening to him. At the start of the video, they try and slit his throat with a sickle and press it against his jaw. But when the victim begins to scream, they shove a box cutter in his mouth to shut him up. His screams are absolutely gut-turning. They kept going from screaming to gurgling, from screaming to gurgling. And as the video progresses, they take the box cutter and slit his throat about 40 times. And keep in mind, the victim is still alive and aware of everything because of the drugs they are giving him to keep him alive. Also, the killers are mocking and laughing at the victim the entire time. They continue to try and slit his throat with the box cutter and were going at his neck numerous times, all while the song Funky Town was playing in the background, hence the name of the video. The killers kept having to physically restrain the victim, meaning there was still a lot of life left in him, and the amount of pain he had to be in is completely unimaginable. At one point in the video, a man had his foot on his chest holding him down, and another time they had shoved a pole in his mouth holding him in place. But the worst part about the video is towards the end, where the victim manages to loosen his arms from the restraints and immediately tries to touch his face. But remember, the victim has no face at all, no hands, and no eyes. But instinctively, the victim still tries to touch his face. It's absolutely horrifying, and the video then concludes. Keep in mind, the victim was still alive when the video ended, so who knows what else they did to him before he died. Because they were literally keeping him alive just to torture him. This victim went through so much pain and torment, and you can make an argument that nobody has ever been tortured as bad as this guy ever. I explain this based off pure memory from the first time I saw the video, because I won't dare watch it again because it's that gruesome. Everybody who saw videos like this always say Funky Town is the worst of the worst. And I honestly think that might be true, so please don't watch it and please don't search it up.
I won't. I never watched those type of video seekers, man. He says don't watch it, I take his word. Seekers, that's it, man, for this video for you guys today. If you guys stay with me to the end, you're a true seeker seeking the truth, so I really appreciate the support, guys. Like I said, guys, hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, man, hit that post notification bell so we could grow our community together and we can get to this algorithm, man, so more people can see us. Like, guys, also follow me on my social medias, man. Links are in the description down below. I really appreciate a follow. Guys, I'm catching the next one, man. I'm out. Peace, seekers. What's up, seekers? Welcome back to the channel. You guys already know what we do here, man. We break down scary and creepy videos, man, on the net, on the web, man, from TikTok videos to IG reels, man, to YouTube videos. Anything weird you want to explain, you can find right here on this channel. I just want to thank the seekers, man, who's been tapping in with the channel, who's been subbing up. Really appreciate that, man. We're seeking the truth just like you. That's why you found this channel. Found this video for you guys today, man. Let's check it out.
Than a year? Well, that's exactly what happened to these three astronauts. They came back to Earth after spending 371 days in space when the return capsule was unexpectedly hit by space junk. When the three men, Sergey, Dmitry, and Frank, were launched back in September 2022, they were told that they were only going to spend 6 months in space, but that later turned into more than a year. And that's because the accident caused so much damage to the radiator, so they had to wait for a replacement capsule to be launched back into space. When it finally arrived, the three astronauts were safely brought back to Earth and landed in a remote area of Kazakhstan on September 27th, 2023. Even though they were okay, they explained how tough it was spending so long in space and the psychological damage. And you might think that 371 days is an absurd amount of time in space, which it is, but Russia still holds the world record of 437 days in space, which was set in the mid-1990s.
This is why you should be...
Damn, bro. Seekers, man, could you imagine being, I guess, like, not touching, I guess, solid ground for more than a year? They was in space for that long, bro. because I guess they said something else with the launch, man. And like I said, what she said was right. Like that's like a freaking mind battle, bro, going on in your head, man. Being, I guess, away from your family, friends from that long, bro. But the thing that got me freaking spooked is, then they said from Russia, they have hold the world record. Why the heck were they in space that long, bro? That's kind of weird, man. Got me asking questions.
Be careful of some photographers. Zoe Fit, a model on Instagram, was doing a photo shoot with a photographer she thought she trusted. The photographer's name was William Francis. But when Zoe went to go change her clothes in the bathroom, she noticed a little light on the charger brick. This one. She even found a chip inside. When she plugged the chip in her camera, this is what she found. Him plugging it up. Before I continue, I've been using this crazy fitness app. It even gives you the exact program to get the body you want. Link in my bio if you want to get in shape too. Zoe became devastated and even weirded out of the whole situation. And the scary part is you can get these cameras at places like Walmart and Amazon.
What the hell? Seekers, man, did you guys see that freaking camera? You would never suspect, bro. It looks like a freaking innocent wall charger, bro. Man, I'm telling you, man, technology is getting too advanced nowadays, bro. It's like you can constantly be watched, man, like 24/7, bro. You don't even know. And he's a photographer, so you know how much access he had to those girls, bro. She's probably not even, his only victim, bro. Probably been doing that a numerous amount of times. Man, bro, how could somebody even let somebody sell something like that, man? That's like too dangerous, bro. A wall charger disguised as a camera. I'm about to have me checking all the freaking chargers in my damn house or something, bro. Making sure nobody ain't trying to watch me.
Horrifying websites on the internet that you should never visit, Part 1. GoodbyeWarden.com gives the last words of 565 Texas inmates who were executed on death row. And some of the statements are absolutely gut-wrenching, with many asking someone to take care of their children when they're gone, and others insisting upon their innocence. DeathDate.info is a dark, morbid site that asks you to enter your name, age, weight, and height before spitting out the exact date that it thinks you're going to die. The site also provides you with 3 words that it says will be related to your death in some way. PlaneCrashInfo.com has an extensive database filled with recordings, pictures, and transcripts of the final moments of a plane crashing. And MidnightInTheDesert.com has unedited footage of the 67 exorcisms of Annalicia McKell. And trust me, her demonic screams will haunt your nightmares.
Bro, those websites, man, especially ones about this freaking the date, you put in your weight, date, age, bro. And you can figure out when you're gonna freaking just eat it. I don't know who would even make a website like that, but who wants to know about something like that, man? I wouldn't even go searching for that. I just put bad energy out to the freaking universe, bro. Seekers, and you know we all about good vibes over here, man. So I wouldn't even freaking attempt to even do something that's freaking stupid or scary, bro. That's just me. I know some people would probably do it in a heartbeat. They say, I want to find out. Not me. Seekers, what do you guys think about that, bro? Edit. I call the edits, man. I gotta call them out when I see it. That's clearly an edit. That's funny, though.
Traumatized, it makes me wanna cry. You dumb motherfucker, I loved you, I loved you, I loved you.
This is 22-year-old Rhett Barlow, and he was seeking nothing but revenge. Let's rewind a little bit. In 2016, a dump truck driver had failed to slow down and rear-ended a minivan, causing the driver of the minivan to pass away. That driver was Rhett Barlow's mother. The man responsible he
apparently purchased an AR-15. The hitman was indeed real, but reported Rhett to the police, causing him to be arrested. As of right now, Rhett is being held on a $1 million bond and has sparked a lot of controversy. Some are saying that Rhett had every right to seek revenge, while others are saying that Donald had already paid for his actions for a mistake he made. The hitman that reported Rhett to police didn't get arrested as well because he reported Rhett to police, but let me know your thoughts on this case.
U.S. Army...
That one... Yeah, I guess see why if it can cause controversy, man. You know, people want vengeance, and then there's other people said he served his crime, so I guess he already did his time, so I guess they figured the situation's over, man. But I guess his son, man, it impacted him differently, obviously, because the person who passed away was his mom, so he just wanted vengeance, man, and he wanted to get at any cost, bro. Behind the hit, man, I don't think that was the move to go, bro. I can't believe there's even a website where you could just type it up and just, hey, I want to hire a hitman. Like, what the hell, bro? I'm telling you, seekers, man, the things I've been learning watching these videos, bro. That's why, like I said, I'm seeking the truth just like you, man. I'm a fellow seeker out here, bro.
Soldier and fitness influencer has died by own choice just days after her daughter's 12th birthday. Michelle Young was a staff sergeant who enlisted at just 17 years old. The now 34-year-old served two tours in Afghanistan, most recently in 2021. That same year, she extended her military contract to serve 20 years. As of September, she had served 16. Military values ran deep in her family. The soldier often spoke of her grandfather, a Navy veteran. In her free time, Young worked as a crisis and trauma response volunteer while also volunteering at a local women's and children's homeless shelter. It's unclear how or where it happened. Sarah Main, the coup veteran-owned activewear brand Curves and Combat Boots, broke the news of Young's death through a GoFundMe campaign. Michelle was a beautiful soul, an amazing friend, a single mother, a soldier, and is proof you never know what someone is going through or what demons they may be fighting. Young's daughter was her whole world, and the campaign was organized to help Gracie with anything she may need. We know Michelle would appreciate us all looking out for her now.
Crazy, bro. You never know what somebody's going through, man. You just never know. Always we gotta check up on your people, man.
Did you know that Chris Watts, the man who killed his entire family in 2018, has seen his daughter's spirit in his jail cell? In the book Letters from Christopher, author Sherilyn Cattle claims that she received a letter from Chris where he details seeing his daughter in a dream in his jail cell. In this dream, he claims to have seen his daughter Cece dancing on the chair next to his bed in the cell. And he claims that while he saw her dancing in the jail cell, the folders and other items he had sitting there started to move by themselves. In the same book, he also claims to have talked to his dead wife, who he murdered, on the phone from prison. There are multiple articles talking about this happening online, and it's also reported that the only things he's allowed to have in his cell are photos of his family and a Bible. He's also stated in the past that he hopes to be reconnected with his family one day, but I don't know if that's going to happen. If you want to hear more of the paranormal claims surrounding the Watts murders, go listen to my podcast, Murder in America. Our episode is an hour and 20 minutes long, and we go super in-depth in the case file. And I guarantee if you listen to our podcast, you'll learn new things that you've never heard or seen before.
I have to freaking check out that freaking podcast, bro, because I didn't even... I saw that case a couple times, but the hell he said that his daughter and his freaking dead wife, the ones, you know, he did the act who was communicating him in the cell. I don't know if he's doing that for attention, man, or they truly, I guess, trying to communicate with him, man, and I guess haunt him for his wrongdoings, bro, to them. And like these people, bro, when they say they communicate with these spirits, bro, you never know, man. I'm trying to talk to them, man, relay a message. What do you guys think, seekers? Edit. Sorry, have to call it out like a secret.
Once again, another child has been failed by the foster system. In November 2015, a 27-year-old Jennifer Rosenbaum called police when her 2-year-old foster daughter, Layla Daniel, began choking on chicken. The dispatcher walked Jennifer through the Heimlich maneuver to try and save Layla's life, but it was too late. When Layla's body was examined, it was clear that she was starved. She had bruises, abrasions, 11 injuries to her torso, and an injury to her liver consistent with punching her abdomen. And according According to the pathologist, Layla's pancreas was also separated in 2 pieces. But Jennifer's defense argued that the injuries were actually from the Heimlich maneuver. Layla's older sister, who was 4 years old, was also fostered by Jennifer and her husband Joseph, but she was immediately taken away after Layla's death. But what's crazy about this story, and could have possibly saved Layla's life, is that this couple never turned in the correct paperwork and only went through a quick screening process to qualify to be foster parents. But also, I question how family services failed to notice the bruises and cuts on Layla's body during their visits. Jennifer was charged as the primary abuser, while Joseph was accused of pretty much turning a blind eye. She was sentenced to life in prison, and Joseph faces up to 30 years on second-degree murder.
The thing that was scary to me is like, you heard about what she said about the paperwork, how they were just able to freaking get access to that freaking kid like that, man. It's like the people, they're not freaking doing their jobs, bro, and you see how it affects everybody else, man. It's like if one person don't do a job, it's like it's a domino effect that can freaking change somebody's life forever, bro. Just like the simple things, man. It's the simple details, bro, that you can't miss, because you never know what's gonna happen, bro, in the future, but the outcome of it. It's just a sad and tragic case, Seekers. Truly.
This right here is a strange true crime case involving 2 sharks. In 1935, fishermen caught a shark and put it in the aquarium in Sydney. A crowd came to see the shark, and miraculously, great timing, it vomited a severed hand and a forearm out. The forearm had a boxing tattoo on it, and the hand still had fingerprints. It belonged to Jim Smith, a petty criminal and a boxer. Upon examination, it was found that the limb was deliberately cut off with a knife. This opened a whole murder investigation. What makes it more interesting, the tiger shark did not eat the human Brady and Holmes were both arrested on suspicion of the murder, and later on they confessed to doing it. Apparently Brady cut up Smith, put him in a box, and tossed it into the bay. And that's when that shark ate the remains, and then the tiger shark ate that shark. It's kind of crazy how this whole thing came full circle like that. Let me know what you guys think about this case in the comment section below.
That case, man, you gotta see how it was like a freaking loop, bro. Like that freaking shark in the aquarium, man. The freaking, I guess, yeah, you know, traumatized. I guess those people there for freaking ever, bro. But here, how it was all over freaking insurance fraud, bro. And that shark, and the shark ate the remains, and that freaking, and the other shark ate the freaking tiger shark, man. It was just like a big loop, bro. It's like he wasn't gonna escape that, bro. That his actions, the people who did that actions were gonna get brought to light, man. That's just insane, bro. To even think about that, man. Ooh. Like, imagine this for being in the audience. You think you're seeing a shark, bro. It just spits out somebody's freaking arm, bro. Imagine the kids and stuff being there, man. Traumatizing them, bro. Like, over a freaking insurance fraud. Over money, bro. The root.
Woman got a man beaten to death in the streets of Baltimore by screaming. This is Latiqua Mays, and she was 20 years old when all this went down. So Latiqua had lived in Baltimore, Maryland for a very long time. So a little while before this incident, Latiqua was living in a boarding house with one of her closest friends. And one evening, this man named Donald Robinson broke into their room at the boarding house and assaulted her friend right in front of her. Now, obviously, this was a horrible thing for Donald to have done, but Latiqua didn't think that Donald had been given a long enough prison sentence for the assault. So one day while Latiqua was walking down the street in Baltimore with her father, she came across Donald. She saw him out in the free world. That's when she started to scream, he raped me, pointing at Donald. Now, I'm pretty sure she didn't know exactly what was happening, but she incited people to violence and then ordered a group of men that were nearby to start beating him. So these young men who were at a basketball court nearby joined in. They started beating, punching, kicking Donald. They held him down and mercilessly beat him in the middle of the street while Latiqua pepper sprayed him. And later on, Donald was eventually taken to the hospital where he was pronounced dead from his injuries. Even Latiqua's own father, Willie Mays, joined in on the attack, and he was eventually sentenced to 2 years in prison for second-degree murder. And Latiqua, she was sentenced to 6 years in prison. And for a while in her sentence, she was in solitary confinement. Now, I don't know what happened to her after all this. I don't know where she's at now. She's out of prison by now. But the mob violence in this story is absolutely insane. And I can't believe this man was murdered in the middle of the street in broad daylight by a group of people.
I ain't gonna lie, that goes to show you, man, the power of words, bro. She just said one thing, man, it's like, that just set a flick off of everybody's head who was involved around there, and they just started freaking, I guess, going in on him, bro. That's why you gotta be careful, man, what you say, because you never know, bro. Think about it. She said one word, bro. It cost that man his life, man. It was like a live execution, Seekers. You gotta be aware of what you say, bro. There's power in words. Yeah, dude. What the?
We're the adults.
You can say that.
I am saying that.
I was by age. I was by age.
And by maturity.
You maybe.
You were a teacher, Mary. You can't say I was immature.
But you don't know him.
No, but I don't need to know him in this discussion. He's the child. I'm talking about you.
Who was the boss? Who was the boss?
What?
Who was the boss back
You know, there
then?
was me pursuing you.
Who was the boss back then?
Trying to flip it on him.
This is ridiculous.
No,
This
who
is
was?
ridiculous.
Who was? Just say.
Just say.
Who was the boss?
All I knew was what I knew back then.
Or who was the boss?
He was 13, Mary.
But who was the boss?
This is getting weird.
Who was the boss? Who?
I'm pursuing the relationship.
Who was the boss?
This is sickening.
Well, I was the pursuer.
Yes.
Mary, even as you're hearing this now, come on, he was 13.
Doesn't matter.
It absolutely matters.
Oh well, flaw me. Flaw me as an
As an adult?
Yes, flaw me. I did the
Yeah.
best I could.
What? There's no way she was like trying to turn it on him, like as the freaking interview was saying, like, bro, it doesn't even matter if he did all that. Like, he was a child. You're an adult in that situation, bro. You couldn't freaking use your morals and stuff just to separate yourself from that, bro. People like that, man, dangerous, bro. They want to take freaking accountability for your actions, bro. Seekers, you gotta be aware of people like that.
Haunt the mines of Colorado. Hello, my name is Urban. I am a Tommy Knocker. We are the spirits of miners that passed away while working in the mine. We are not evil, but don't play around with us. We can be very mischievous. During the gold rush, mines began digging into the mountains of Colorado. Thousands of men journeyed to the west in hopes of striking gold and getting rich. However, most mines are extremely dangerous, and we would try to warn them of a potential collapse or dangerous gas coming. But since we are spirits, it was tough to warn the miners of the dangers ahead. We would knock on the walls, and it would echo through the mine. This was our first warning, but some miners thought we were guiding them to gold and would start digging towards their doom. We would then blow out their candles and turn off their headlights. Unfortunately, some didn't take our warnings.
What is the Siberian dancing lady? So you've probably seen this very eerie viral video of a woman dancing in the streets. The video allegedly depicts some kind of entity known as the Siberian dancing lady. According to some urban legends, if you look directly into the eyes of the Siberian dancing lady, apparently she will possess you or attack you or something of that nature. Side note, this is actually why you keep seeing those "sorry for looking into your eyes" comments. They are because of the Siberian dancing lady. The Siberian dancing lady is apparently known to jump in front of cars and dance in a very entrancing way that doesn't seem human-like. Now, there have been many reported sightings of this dancing lady, and they're all very, very creepy and very, very eerie. But so far, I don't think there's actually been any kind of report of someone being possessed by the Siberian dancing lady. So the part about her possessing you is probably made up. But there are so many videos of this dancing lady all over the internet that I personally believe she is a real thing, but we just don't know exactly what she is.
Seekers, man. What would you do, man, if you just saw in the middle of your neighborhood, in the middle of the night, you just see a lady just dancing, bro. And it keeps like recurring, bro, over and over again. You would definitely think something was up, bro. Something was freaking, I guess, wrong with her, man. The Siberian dancer lady, bro. That really piqued my interest, bro. I'm gonna have to do some more research into that, bro. Like, why she's doing all that dance in the middle of the night? To say that she's jumping in front of cars, that makes it even 10 times more dangerous, bro. Like, that's just an accident waiting to happen. Seekers. Added, like, what the hell?
Today's case is one that shouldn't have even happened. But unfortunately, many girls, just like Lily, will suffer the same fate that she did. In December of 2021, Lily was just 18 years old and she'd been out at a nightclub. And in said nightclub, she ended up meeting 31-year-old Lewis Hayne. Lewis was a father himself, and the pair were seen on CCTV leaving together. In the CCTV shown, it was clear that the two were getting on very well. It looked like they were having a nice time, and it appeared that they'd just sort of left the club to have a bit of time to themselves. However, Lily's mum was on her way to pick up Lily, which had been arranged, and Lily had kept in touch with her mum, letting her know that she was nearly at the arranged pickup spot, until eventually she stopped responding to her mum. The pair ended up heading down a back alley, and it's believed that because Lily ended up saying no to Lewis's sexual advances, he murdered her by forcefully ripping off her shirt and then strangling her and dumping her body into water nearby. To make this case even more heartbreaking, Lily's own mother had eventually ended up seeing Lewis walking down the street. She ended up looking at him and she thought he seemed odd, but little did she know he just murdered her own daughter. And to top off, and to just prove even further what kind of a person that Lewis is, he then got home and told his girlfriend, his long-term partner, that he'd just strangled someone. And it was hours later when Lily's body was discovered. So due to him being seen on CCTV with Lily, he was arrested. And in court, he stated that the reason why he killed Lily was because she threatened to accuse him of being a rapist after she found out that he had a girlfriend, which I personally think is utter rubbish. And he was sentenced to a minimum of 23 years in prison. Cases like this should not be happening simply because girls say no to a man. And I really, really hope that Lily gets the justice that she really, really deserves. It's just disgusting.
This is one of the worst cases.
It truly is, bro. Some people, man, they just can't freaking just accept the concept of no, man. No means no. If they say no, then that's it. End of discussion, bro. I like to say the freaking mom, to hear that she like walked past him, bro, and she saw that something was weird and something was off, man. But and to figure out that he freaking took her daughter away from her, bro. Like, she knew, I guess, or she felt something off. I'm telling you, man, people, they can sense things like that, bro. I truly believe that, man. And if he can say he just walked in and just told his girlfriend actually that she did, but like he just didn't have no remorse. He just said, I did it. Secrets, bro. This world is evil, man. Always gotta be aware, bro. Always.
In human history, this is the murder of Christine Silouan. She was from the Philippines and was a volunteer in church, and she used the church every day from 4 to 6 p.m. On the day of her murder, she went to church as per her schedule, but she didn't come home after that. Her parents then started to worry, and they began searching for her with their neighbors. And what they found is absolutely horrid. They found her body in a farm where half her face was sliced like a piece of pizza, and her face was literally skinned down to her skull. Also, her brain was completely destroyed by acid. The police then started investigating, and they checked the cameras and found out that she was with a guy. The people started protesting about this case, and the case was then given to special officers. They had a lot of pressure on this. A week before this happened, she broke up with her boyfriend, so the police took him into custody. And he was proving that he was at home all day when she was murdered, but officers were completely tired of this case, and they then sentenced him as the murderer. But after a few months, a thief was caught in a store where he confessed that he murdered and raped Christine. He said he started talking to her on Facebook with a fake account and was using fake photos of another guy that was pretty good looking. Christine fell for the guy, and she assumed that he was about 20 years old, and they started texting daily. One day they both decided to meet up at 6 p.m. near the church she went to. But upon arriving, Christine noticed that this was not the guy she was talking to, and he was around 40-ish years old. She then refused to talk to him and tried to go back, but he held her hands extremely forcefully. He then took her far away from town and raped her repeatedly and put iron rods inside her personal organs. He then cut her face in half and then skinned her whole head down to the skull. And to make it even worse, he put acid inside of her head. The autopsy also revealed that her tongue, trachea, esophagus, parts of her neck, and her right ear were missing. The self-proclaimed killer of this case, named Renato Lanis, said that he used barber-type scissors and stabbed her 30 times on different parts of her body and skinned her face. Christine Silouan was only 16 years old, and this case is extremely haunting. There's a picture of her body that was found in the field, but Google did a really good job of not showing it and hiding it. So even if you do go looking for the picture, I don't think you're going to find it. This is one of those cases that after you get done reading it, you just feel some sort of uneasiness. I feel so bad for Christine's family, and I can't imagine finding my daughter in this state. May Christine Silouan rest in peace. This 18-year-old...
She getting all freaking catfish, bro. I tell you, man, bro. Freaking people, bro. Freaking demented, man. He made a freaking fake account profile to talk to her, bro. She shouldn't know because his true freaking self was revealed. He just decided to do the unthinkable, man. That's what I'm telling you. Like, people behind these profiles and stuff, man, you gotta do research into them, man. I guess if you're talking to somebody online, because you can never know, but it can be a catfish. They can be a completely whole different person, bro. You can make a whole different life online, bro. It's freaking scary, man, how you could just portray yourself to somebody else, but you're a completely different person. Seekers, bro. Tell me, have you guys have any problem with any catfish before, bro?
Model was murdered, and you won't believe what her killer said. This is Sally Ann Bowman, and she was born on September 11th, 1987, in Carshalton, South London. She attended the Brit School for Performing Arts and Technology in Croydon. Sally Bowman had dreams of one day appearing on the cover of Vogue and had been compared to supermodel Kate Moss. After leaving school in 2004, she worked part-time as a hairdresser and model. In January 2005, she joined Post Model Management, a local modeling agency, and she became the face of Swatch Watches and took part in the Swatch Alternative Fashion Week in April 2005. But in September of that year, her life would drastically change forever. On the night of September 24th, 2005, Sally Bowman and her older sister Nicole and a group of friends went to Lloyd's Bar in Croydon, where they stayed until 1 a.m. After leaving the bar, Sally Bowman waited outside for 15 minutes before being taken to a friend's house by taxi. She contacted her ex-boyfriend Louis Broadston, and he agreed to pick her up and take her home, after she told him Nicole had been arrested for fighting. She took a taxi back to Croydon Town Central, where Broadston picked her up around 2 a.m., but while in the car, Sally and her ex-boyfriend got into a fight, and they accused the other of infidelity, which had been contributed to their recent split. Shortly after 4 a.m., Sally left the car and Louis drove off. Minutes later, Sally was then stabbed in the neck and stomach and was then raped as she lay dead or dying on the ground. Her handbag, cardigan, and underwear and mobile phone were stolen. Police initially treated Louis as a suspect, and he was then arrested. After being held for 4 days, DNA evidence eliminated him as a suspect, and he was released without charge. On June 28, 2006, 35-year-old Croydon man Mark Dixie was arrested on suspicion of murdering Sally. He was charged with Sally's murder and remained in custody to await trial. This development came after police discovered a DNA link to the murder, having taken a DNA swab from Dixie when they arrested him 2 weeks earlier for allegedly being involved in a brawl at a bar, where he was working as a chef. After more than 18 months in custody, Mark Dixie went on trial at the Old Bailey in the City of London on February 4, 2008, charged with the murder of Sally Ann Bowman. He admitted to having sex with her after finding her on the ground outside her home, but denied murdering her and said that he did not realize she was dead or dying when he found her, which is just sickening because we all know he did it and what he did to her. Mark Dixie was then found guilty of Sally Bowman's murder by anonymous verdict on February 22, 2008 after 3 hours of jury deliberation. The judge sentenced Mark Dixie to life in prison with a minimum of 34 years, meaning that he is unlikely to be considered for parole until at least 2040. It was also revealed that Mark Dixie was already a convicted serial sex offender. This case is just so chilling and sad because Sally Bowman had dreams of becoming a model and just doing something good with her life. And that went all out the door because this mentally unstable man had other plans. She was just 18 years old with her whole life ahead of her. May she rest in peace.
Freaking case, man. These people, bro, they be doing demented things, bro. Freaking never fails, bro. To hear that she was that young as well, man. She had plans for her life and all that, bro. He just came along and just freaking ruined it all, bro. Just because of the type of person he was, man. Seekers, bro. So it's an evil place, man. You always gotta be aware because you never know somebody's intentions, bro. You just never know. YouTube seekers, man. If you guys made it with me to the end of the video, you're a real seeker, man, who's seeking the truth. So I appreciate that, man. Guys, make sure you subscribe to the channel. Hit that like button, man. Hit that post notification bell, man, so you guys never miss a video. Guys, we're climbing, we're growing, so I really appreciate that. You guys gonna catch you in the next video. I'm out. Peace, seekers. What's up, seekers? Welcome back to the channel, man. Hopefully you guys are doing all right, man. If you guys are brand new here, if you guys don't know what we do, we break down scary and creepy videos, man, on the net, on the web, man, from YouTube videos to TikTok videos, IG reels, Facebook reels, anything weird, usual, and unexplained you can find right here on this channel. Just want to thank the seekers, man, who's been tapping in with us, man, subbing up to the channel. I really appreciate that, man. That's how we grow the seekers, man. But you guys liking the video, subscribing, and hitting that post notification bell, we could grow our community together. Found this video for you guys today. Let's do what we do best, seekers. Let's seek the truth.
Suffered a botched circumcision and was raised as a girl for 13 years. In 1965, David Reimer was born a boy along with his brother in Winnipeg, Canada. But at 8 months, he suffered a botched circumcision and unfortunately, his genitals were accidentally burnt off. While his twin brother was fine, David's damage could not be fixed. So David's parents consulted with Dr. John Money and he suggested that David undergo sex reassignment surgery and be given hormones and instead be raised as a girl. His parents took the advice and changed David's birth name from Bruce to Brenda. Dr. Money believed that David could be easily raised as a girl despite being born as a biological male. The doctor even told David's parents to never tell him or his twin brother what happened to him as a baby. As the twins got older, Dr. Money continued to see them for annual checkups, but it's been said that during these appointments, he would make them rehearse sexual acts as he photographed them. Throughout David's childhood, he rejected anything feminine and consistently showed masculine traits. By the time he reached 13 years old, he was suicidal and his mom realized that he wasn't happy being a girl. Soon after, David's father finally told him the truth and immediately he changed his name from Brenda to David. David then began taking testosterone and going through various operations to rebuild his genitals. But he continued to suffer from psychological trauma throughout his life due to Dr. Money's experiment, and not long after, his twin brother passed away. And sadly, at the age of 38, David committed suicide. A lot of people blame Dr. Money for David's death, but his defense is that it was the right thing to do at the time.
When I think of theme park rides,
Really, seekers? That was the right thing to do at the time? I don't think so, man. That whole situation is just crazy and insane, bro. Imagine that happening to you. You didn't realize that till later in your life. Not too many words on that, case, seekers.
it's likely to kill someone, I don't think about the miniature railway. Unfortunately, that's exactly what happened at Gulliver's Land in Milton Keynes. Hugh Doe was 56 and from Newport Pagnell in Bucks. He was an engineer and he was working at Gulliver's Land on May the 10th, 2006. He had been doing some maintenance on the miniature railway train at the theme park, and after the work was completed, it's reported that he stood up after giving the driver the all clear to move the train on. Tragically, he was killed instantly when the train went into a tunnel. Hideously, it's reported that he suffered a huge amount of trauma to his skull and brain before being dragged through the 10-foot-long tunnel. When a health and safety spokeswoman was asked for comment, she stated that he had been decapitated. She stated, "There was probably 2.5 to 3 inches between the top of the carriage and the tunnel." The park was closed to members of the public the day after the incident as a mark of respect for the victim. There was an inquest into Hugh Doe's death. Eventually it was announced that Hugh's death was labelled as misadventure.
You think people act on the bike?
Misadventure? The thing I'm most surprised to see is that the freaking that theme park they shut down for a day, man. Cause you know usually, man, you be hearing the freaking stories about what happens at these theme parks and they just go on just like it's just a regular day, man. Cause you know all this corporation cares about is the money, so that's actually really surprising to me that they actually closed down for a day. The Habitum Seekers? The hell? And they labeled it as misadventure. I don't think that's something you should label it like that. Anyway, let's continue, Seekers.
Your shit. After you literally cut up fucking flesh and bones and eyeballs and brains, like who the fuck wants to eat shit like that?
You never know.
You never know.
You never know.
So prison really was not any type of difference for you. When I came on the trial and told my story about how I was kidnapped and how I attacked you and you claimed that I tried to kill you, it was
You did try to kill me with a knife.
It was self-defense. You were never gonna let me go.
Blood-curdling facts that you...
What the... He went to her face to face. She was known for cooking people and stuff like that. And when he tried to defend himself, she said, "You try to take me out." I was like, that's a natural response, man. To anybody would do that. You trying to take them out, obviously they're gonna try to protect and defend themselves, Seekers, man. What we going through people's minds? Like I said, when they be doing these acts, they just think that they can just get away with anything, man. It truly is like they don't have a grasp on reality. Seekers, what do you guys think about that case?
You wish you never knew. Part 13. Hundreds of thousands of bodies have either been lost or buried at sea, so every time you swim in the ocean, you're basically bathing in a graveyard. Chainsaws were originally invented for childbirth. Female mummies in ancient Egypt were always decomposed more than the male ones, and this is because the male bodies were embalmed a lot sooner while the female bodies were kept at the family home until they started to decompose a little bit. And this was to prevent people from having sex with the dead female bodies. Vlad the Impaler was called this because he would place his enemies ass first on pointed poles that would slowly skewer them to death. Fatal familial insomnia is a disease where a person literally cannot go to sleep no matter what they take or what they do. The symptoms get progressively worse until they die of exhaustion. And for the last one, you might want to look up who invented blow-up dolls.
These are the people that left almost 200 bodies in their funeral home to rot for over 4 years. They were stealing people's money, not actually cremating their loved ones, and let me just show you their Facebook post and what they were actually doing with this money. Here they are, August 10th, 2021, on a family vacation in New York City at the Empire State Building. In October of 2021, it looks like they were actually trying to buy his grandparents' old house. And they say, "We had a cash offer ready to go. Wonder where all that cash came from." Here's November 9th, 2021. Looks like they're in South Beach, Miami now, which is not cheap. Staying at a hotel right on the beach. And here they are just 1 month later in December of 2021, bragging about their nice hotel in San Francisco. And then in February of 2022, another vacation, this time to Vegas. Him and his wife and his family all going on these vacations. Here's a post from December 2021 talking about how he's so happy with where his businesses are at, the right people in the right place doing the right thing at the right time. Yeah, you were never doing the right thing.
You just Seekers, man. People like that just like have no morals, man. Like, you're supposed to be taking care of those freaking bodies, and y'all just took the money and ran and just went on lavish vacations, and then you're acting like you earned that money, talking about people being in the right place at the right time. No, you cheated and stole that freaking money from the families. the people understand like how that affects them, and he just left all those freaking people, the coffers, man. Like, what happened to their freaking bodies, bro? Man, seekers, man. People, when they be doing these things, I don't think they understand like how much it'll affect another person. Truly, man. Edit. Call, like I said, I said.
He says that having his own fingers amputated has made him feel more complete. Yet he says he's only 46% of the way to becoming an alien. And what he has planned next is disturbing. This man hails from Montpellier, France, and his name is Anthony Lafredo. Anthony calls himself the Black Alien. He began his transformation at the age of 27, and in order to look less and less like a human, he's already had tattoos all over his body, as well as numerous cosmetic surgeries such as removing his tongue, nose, ears, and 2 fingers. He's also had his teeth dyed purple, and the whites of his eyes black. He even had silicone implants implanted. To justify all this, he explains, first you have to know what you want, then you have to have the courage to say it, and finally you have to have the energy to do it. According to some sources, his next steps are to have his legs amputated and to become very thin. So we wonder what he'll look like when he's reached 100% of his transformation. And more importantly, we wonder why nobody's stopping him because he's clearly hurting himself. But he says, I'm lucky enough to live the life I want, to do what I want physically. It's absolute freedom. There's no one to stop me. Except that he still complains when he gets kicked out of public places like certain restaurants, which don't hesitate to ask him to leave.
Now the rarest... He must have become an alien, seekers, and all the videos we covered together, this is my first time I heard something like that, man. And he's going through the process, man. He's got all those tattoos. Like I said, the first time when I saw him, it looked like something had just happened to him, like he was in an incident or something. But to hear that he was doing it to himself, man, because he wanted to become an alien, bro. And he wants to get this full form. Like he said, he wants to get thinner, man. Seekers, we're going to have to check out that case, man. If you guys can check it out, find some more details, tell me down below, bro. We got to find him, man. That human alien, bro. The Black Alien, that's what they call him.
This lip type is a Cupid's bow lip, where the middle of the upper lip dips down and there are 2 distinct peaks on either side. You can also see it more clearly here. It's difficult to quantify as there haven't been any high quality studies, but it's thought that less than 5% of people have this lip shape.
Interesting.
Everyone laughed at him when he married her, but 2 years later, they regretted it. The story begins with this guy named Sean, who met Amelia and instantly fell in love. But when he would tell his friends about her, they would just laugh. But Sean knew he loved Amelia and was going to propose to her. Amelia had always been bullied because of her weight, but Sean loved her no matter what. When they went out in public, they would get dirty looks. People would laugh at them in the streets. But Sean did not care and decided to marry her. 2 years down the line, Amelia had a secret that Sean did not know about. Sean was so in love with Amelia, he decided to marry her regardless of people laughing at her. They got married on the beach and looked very happy. But 2 years down the line, Amelia had a deep secret. Sean started to notice that something was off. The couple looked happy, but Amelia was keeping something from Sean. Amelia had been distant for many months, and one day Sean decided to ask Amelia what was wrong. Amelia finally opened up and said that she had been cheating on Sean. Immediately when Sean heard this, he was shocked. He was so angry and felt betrayed.
In Texas, a 17-year-old named Isaac Gonzalez was arrested after cutting his ankle monitor off and taunting police on social media. Gonzalez, a murder suspect, who fired around 100 bullets into a residence, resulting in the unintended killing of an innocent woman named Novita Brazil and the injury of another person. He is now facing charges of murder and aggravated assault with a deadly weapon. Additionally, an unnamed 15-year-old boy is facing a murder charge in connection to the incident. The shooting took place when Gonzalez and the 15-year-old mistakenly targeted the wrong house, believing it to belong to a rival gang. This led to the death of Novita Brazil, a 25-year-old woman who was studying at her home. Following the shooting, the suspects engaged in a high-speed chase with the police and discarded several firearms believed to have been used in the incident. They were initially apprehended, but were able to post bail. During their arrests, both suspects displayed a shocking disregard for law enforcement and the seriousness of their actions.
You could tell, man, it's like he was throwing up signs when he was getting taken away. People need to have more regard, man, for freaking human life, bro. And they did it at the wrong house as well. He was just an innocent bystander, bro. Man. Bone-chilling story seekers, bro. Gotta be more careful out here, man. You can never know what'll happen. Get it.
This pedophile mom in Ohio committed one of the most horrific crimes I've ever read about. I'm going to add a trigger warning in here right now. This is a very, very disturbing story, so viewer discretion is advised. So this is Ashley Jessup from Ohio. And in 2012, she was found guilty of rape and sentenced to life in prison. But who did Ashley assault? Well, it was her own 10-month-old baby. At the time of this crime, Ashley was dating 24-year-old Jordan Russell. The two seemed to be very in love, and they frequently exchanged explicit materials over email and text message, of themselves, obviously. But then in August of 2011, Jordan asked Ashley to do something shocking. He asked her to perform explicit acts on her own 10-month-old baby son. And obviously he wanted her to film it and send it to him so he could keep these videos and images. And for some shocking reason, Ashley actually obliged. And she performed graphic and gruesome acts on her own son. So later that month, Jordan had actually broken up with Ashley and he already had a new girlfriend. And this new girlfriend of Jordan's was going through his computer when she discovered these extremely disturbing images and contacted the police. So obviously when the details of this case were made public, everybody was absolutely shocked. And the judge in this case actually stated that in his 30-year career, this was one of the most bizarre and disturbing cases he had ever had to cover. So Ashley was eventually convicted of a litany of charges, including assault, rape on a minor, everything like that. And she's still in prison to this day, serving out that life sentence. Now, this is a really, really disturbing story, and I really do think that she should be in prison for a very, very long time.
The scene of one of the
Seekers. Like I said, judge, well, 30 years, never seen something freaking that weird and bizarre. You'd have found out until today, man. It's like these people, when they freaking do these acts, like, they truly don't think about the freaking consequences, man. And they hit that the freaking night that and her boyfriend freaking requested it. I feel like something should happen to him as well, because he freaking requested it. He wanted to see something like that, so something's obviously off in his freaking head as well. So I feel like something should happen to him. True was like, no. Dude, that's getting on something that young as well? What the heebie-jeebies, bro. Damn.
The most notorious crimes of the 1990s is for sale in Boulder, Colorado. The house where John Benet Ramsey lived and died has hit the market for $6.25 million. I've done my best to match up the listing photos with the crime scene photos, so we're going to take a walk through and see what's changed and what remains the same. But first, let's talk about that price. A recent study done by Real Estate Witch tells us that a full 37% of people would consider it a deal breaker if the home that they were buying was the scene of a violent crime. So let's take a look through and see if you think they changed enough to warrant that high price. Here's what it looked like in '96 on the outside. Since 1998, they installed privacy gates and they actually changed the address of the house. Here's what the house looks like today inside. In this crime scene photo of the dining room, take a look at the French doors. They just painted them black and they left the same hardware. Much of the first floor looks exactly the same as it used to, even down to the curtain rods in this family room. New owners have put in a brand new kitchen. You can see the recognizable black and white tile flooring is gone, but they've kept this walk-in refrigerator and added a new stainless steel panel to the front. In the butler's pantry, the black and white tiling is still there. At first glance, the bathrooms in this house might appear updated. When you look a little closer at these old crime scene photos, you'll see they've added a new sink and top, but this vanity and the drawer pulls are exactly the same. And in some of the bathrooms, the distinctive black tile around the tub is still there. In the primary suite, we see that they replaced the old blue carpeting for some fresh beige carpeting, but not much else has changed. Even the wall sconces are the same. Downstairs in the basement, where many think the crime occurred, it's been completely renovated. In this room, the new owners put in a wine cellar. While the rest of the basement used to be a series of storage rooms, it's now one big open entertaining space. Obviously, a lot of this price comes down to the stunning location, but this house was sold in 1998 for only $650,000, and it has been on and off the market at least 6 times since then, most recently with a huge price increase. This place is already priced way higher than any homes around it. So what do you guys think? Would you live here?
This woman was shot and killed by a real-life killer clown. Marlene Warren opened her door to see a clown holding flowers and balloons. As the 40-year-old woman reached out to take the gift, the clown pulled out shooting her in front of her son. Her son said this was a full clown costume, makeup, a red nose, wig, and the clown calmly walked away and drove off in a white Chrysler. And Marlene Warren sadly passed away in the hospital a short time later. This happened in 1990 in Palm Beach, Florida, but it sadly remained unsolved for 27 years. And the killer was sentenced this year in 2023. Her husband Michael looked suspicious because he was not home at the time. But because of the elaborate disguise, her son was unable to make a helpful police sketch. The same year of the murder, a coworker of Marlene's husband tipped off police that his wife had been having an affair. His wife left him, and then Michael, now being widowed, married her in 2002. And in 2017, Sheila King Warren was arrested for the murder of Marlene Warren. So what was the most damning evidence, and why would solving this take 27 years? Testimony from a local shop placed Sheila buying the costume 2 days before the incident. Also, this was May, so I don't know why she picked a clown costume. Here's another photo of her, and what I'm assuming is a different clown costume. Maybe this lady just had a thing for clowns. A white Chrysler was located a few days after Marlene's passing, and inside they found a long brown hair and orange fibers. Similar orange fibers were found in Sheila's home, and they were likely from the clown wig. This was in 1990, and DNA testing was in its infancy. The cold case was reopened, and the brown hair was tested to be Sheila's, Michael's new wife. She was arrested in 2017, but wasn't sentenced until 2023. Sheila was sentenced to just 12 years for the murder as part of a plea deal. And with time served, she's actually going to get out sometime relatively soon. Michael was not charged, even though I'm sure he knew that his second wife killed his first one. In a recent interview with Michael and Marlene's son, he said that he's just glad to have closure. But what do you guys think? How long should she have gotten for the murder of Marlene Warren?
Seekers, man, yeah, how long should she have gotten? She just got 12 years, bro. And the case went unsolved for 20 years. You would think she would get a harsher sentence. And Ed, the freaking husband, I'm pretty, like she said, she's pretty sure that he knew what happened. She just dressed in a freaking full clown costume and just decided to end it all, man. What the hell? Of all the things, why was she obsessed with clowns? Out of all the things she could have wore, she chose a clown. That's what's really paying off in my freaking head, bro. That it. Gotta call it like I see it.
This is the Trey Sessler case, the YouTuber who murdered his entire family. This is Trey Sessler, and he was known as Mr. Anime on YouTube. Back in the early days of YouTube, Trey was actually a super popular creator on the platform. And he's also been credited to kickstart the anime community all on YouTube. In his videos, he would review anime, video games, and stuff like that. And he got a couple 100,000 followers. But as time went on, people started to realize something wasn't right. He started to make a lot of videos with weapons in them, like guns, and he also posted images and talked about how he had killed animals. He used real weapons in some of his videos, and he even went to random buildings at night and just shot at them for no reason at all. But in 2012, Trey's life would take a disturbing turn. In February of that year, he posted on his channel saying that he was going to reward himself and take a break. But on March 13th, 2012, he said he found a new job, which was 100% going to prevent him from posting on YouTube in the future. And on March 20th, 2012, Trey decided he was going to kill people. And he decided to start out by killing his family. On that day, he went to his family's home and lured his mom into the garage. And he then shot her in the chest at point-blank range, killing her. He then went back into the house and shot his brother dead in the head. Trey's father, who was sleeping, woke up from all the gunshots and walked over to investigate. And Trey then shot him in the chest just like he did to his mom. And to even make it more sinister, after doing this and killing his entire family, he walked around the house killing all of the family's pets. He then took ammunition and weapons and started walking towards the high school at the end of the street. And we could all assume what his climactic plan was. Trey later claimed that he wanted to kill at least 70 students at the school so that he could be the deadliest mass killer in United States history. And he said he killed his family first because he didn't want them to see what he was about to do, and said that he was completely inspired by the Columbine killers. But thankfully, right before Trey was about to commit the shooting at the school, he backed down and was quickly arrested afterwards. Also, after the shootings, it was discovered that he had written a lot of stuff all over the doors and walls, and this was evidence that he had been disturbed for quite a long time. This is just an insane case, and I can't believe stuff like this happens so consistently in our world.
911, where's your emergency?
My house.
Okay, what's the emergency?
I just killed my mom and my sister.
You just killed your mother and your sister? How did you do that?
I shot him with a .22 revolver.
Are you sure they're dead?
Yes.
Okay, I want you to stay on the phone with me, okay? Are you all right?
Yeah, I'm fine.
Okay. Where's the gun?
It's on the kitchen counter.
Is there any reason that you were so angry at your mother and your sister?
I don't know. I wasn't, it's weird. I wasn't even really angry with them. It just kind of happened. I've been kind of planning on killing for a while now.
The two of them, or just anybody?
Pretty much anybody.
Why?
I don't know. I don't really like people's kind of attitude.
Right.
I think they're very, like, you know, emotional, I don't know, verbally rude to each other and stuff like that.
Right.
I don't know.
It's okay.
It's just my family, I don't know, they're just kind of really, I guess this is really selfish to say, but to me, I felt like they were just suffocating me in a way. I don't know. I think, obviously, you know, I'm pretty, I guess, evil, but, whatever.
Okay. No, don't be sorry. I'm listening. Okay, you have my undivided attention.
This is really gonna mess me up for this, you know, in the future. See my sister. I told my sister that my mom needed her.
Mm-hmm.
She was in her room, and she came out of her room, and I shot her, rolled down the stairs, and I shot her again, and I went down and I shot my mom about maybe 3 or 4 times. But I'll never forget that my sister, she came down the stairs and she was screaming, and I was telling her that I'm sorry, but to just told Bill that, you know, I was just gonna make it go away, you know, but she just kept on freaking me out. But finally she fell down and I shot her in the head about probably 3 times.
So they're both downstairs?
Yes.
Okay, where are you?
In the kitchen.
Okay. You're not sitting by the gun, are you?
No, it's about like 10 or 15 feet away from me.
All right. Where's your dad?
He's out of town.
Do you know where he is? Out of town?
Washington, D.C. And for, I guess, future reference, I don't really want to see any of my family members, you know, like if visiting or whatever. I don't know how it works or anything, but I just don't want any type of visitors.
This girl was kept in a box.
To hear that she just said it's okay and I have your undivided attention. I know it was her, I guess it was her job, I guess, to keep him on the phone, just keep his focus, but damn, like I said, I can never do that type of job because you have to hear things like that every day, boy. You just have to be calm. You have to try to freaking keep them on the phone, even like when you hear them do those horrific acts, man. Small man, sister, bro. RP to them. Damn, bro. And he was just talking so calmly too. Like I said, I never understood that aspect. I don't know how people do it. Seekers, I just don't.
Box and used as a sex slave for 7 years. 20-year-old Colleen Stan is an American woman who was kidnapped and held as a sex slave by Cameron and Janice Hooker in their California home for over 7 years between 1977 and 1984. Her case has received international fame and has been a subject of many books, films, and television series. On May 19th, 1977, Colleen Stan was hitchhiking from her home in Eugene, Oregon, to a friend's home in Northern California where she was heading to a birthday party. Cameron Hooker kidnapped 20-year-old Colleen after picking her up. Colleen said she was a very experienced hitchhiker and had allowed 2 rides to go past her before accepting the ride with Cameron Hooker. Colleen said she felt confident climbing into the blue van because Hooker's wife Janice and their baby were in the car. They then stopped at a gas station along the way and Colleen went to use the restroom. And she said a voice told her to run out and jump out the window and never look back, but she never did, which she definitely regrets. When they left, they got on the highway and Cameron Hooker pulled over on the side of the road and put a knife to Colleen's throat, all the way until they got to an isolated area. She was then locked in a wooden box that was designed to prevent light, sound, and fresh air entering. After this, Colleen was tortured and kept locked in the box for 23 hours a day until she was given a contract and forced to sign herself into slavery for life in January 1978. Her kidnapper also said that they were being watched by a powerful organization called the Company, and if she ever tried to escape, they would torture her and harm her family. Colleen then became a slave and her new name was Kay, and she was forced to call Cameron master. Cameron then started raping Colleen, and it was mostly consisting of oral rape. Cameron reportedly didn't want to have normal sex with Colleen because he considered that to breach his agreement with his wife. Instead, he raped her with objects. To avoid painful punishments, Colleen tried to comply with Cameron's commandments, which later led to her being allowed to go out to jog and work in the yard, and even help him with bigger stuff like an underground dungeon for more slaves. Even with an open door, neighbors, and a telephone, she never made an attempt to escape because her fear of the Company kept her from seeking help. Additionally, Stan was also allowed to visit her family by herself in 1981, but did not reveal her situation due to her fear of the possible consequences from the Company. Her family thought she was involved in some sort of cult, and they did not want to pressure her to stay in fear that she would stay away forever. The next day, Colleen returned for a second visit with Cameron posing as her boyfriend. Cameron feared that he had given his slave too much freedom and took her back to his home, where he locked her in the wooden box under his waterbed. She remained in the box 23 hours a day for the next 3 years. Colleen would go to the bathroom using a bedpan which she positioned under herself with her feet. Once Cameron's children had gone to bed, he would take Colleen out of the box and feed her and torture her. Colleen was not allowed to make any noise and she had to stay still for 23 hours a day in the complete dark, with little to no air to breathe. In the summer, the box would get over 100 degrees Fahrenheit. In 1983, Colleen was allowed to get a job as a maid at a hotel, and Cameron wanted her to become his second wife, which was a turning point for Janice, who is his wife. And in August 1984, Janice began struggling with herself and went to Colleen. She then told her that Cameron was not part of the Company and the Company wasn't even real. Janice then helped Colleen escape to a bus station where they had Colleen's parents help bring her home. Colleen Stan is still alive today and she experiences PTSD and has extreme back and shoulder injuries, which is from being trapped in a small box for 7 years straight. This case is extremely gut-turning, and could you ever imagine this happening to you? Luckily, Cameron Hooker was found guilty of kidnapping and sexual assault and was sentenced to 104 years in prison.
Insane secrets, bro. Truly a freaking evil case, man. Seekers, if you guys stay with me to the end of the video, you're a true seeker seeking the truth. I greatly appreciate your support, man. Like I said, guys, in order for us to grow, man, I need you guys to hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, man, hit that post notification button as well. Just do those 3 simple steps, man. We can grow. Like I said, I appreciate you guys for supporting these past couple of videos. We're gonna keep going, man. Haven't missed a day of March, bro, so we gotta clap it up, man. You guys, I'm catching the next one, man. I'm out. Peace, seekers.